my audio back, y'all. I think I got my audio back. Let me get this thing together here, cause this was absolutely crazy. So if you back rocking with me, hopefully my audio is back. So let me get the chat up so I can see what's going on. I had to flip. We be having technical difficulties for no reason. Sometimes you be getting ready to do something, and then you get ready to do something, and then all of a sudden you done went live, and the video completely messed up. So I just wanted to make sure I got the chat up. So how my audio sound? How my audio sound? You say way better? I sound better now? Okay. All right. Let's get into this, man. Oh my goodness, man. Lord, I don't even know what was going on with StreamYard. I had to switch back over to my other gear. But as I was saying on my last video, I'm about to figure this one out, how I'm gonna merge these two together. But Diddy got acquitted on them charges, and then all of a sudden now, he asked for bail, and the judge didn't want to give him bail, so he got to wait till October 3rd. 12 to 24 months is the normal sentencing for prostitution. Don't see him getting that much time. He might get time served because he's been spent about a year in prison in Metro. So by the time he go to sentencing on October 3rd, because Cassie fears for her life. Now, there's a lot of people who have been coming out saying that they fear for their life because they went in there and testified. They all think that Diddy gonna do something. They all feel that, now he's more powerful than ever because, he just beat this case. But the case was weak. The RICO case was weak. Like I said in the previous version of this video, I could only find 3 cases where a single defendant, you think you're going to get 8 years? Oh, no, man. 8 years? 8 years? 8 years? Ooh. Wow. I just, ooh, 8 years, man. I just don't see it. He'll be out in 2026. Okay. Yeah. You're going to put him on probation for a couple of years, sentence him to 12 months, probation, time served, and he come home. I don't know if he has to register as a ex-offender. You know what I'm saying? I know this is the Mann Act, and I know that I think within the Mann Act, there is a thing for registering as an ex-offender. But what's crazy about this case is that these charges that he was charged with, these counts, were basically, if it was children, it would have been completely different. It would be separately different because these acts really were written for trafficking of children. So when it comes to adults, especially when they are kind of expressing that, I think, see what I'm saying? Like, if you really think about it, it's kind of hard to say it, that it's trafficking when it's like consenting adults. It's like, what? Like, you know what I'm saying? And where was the evidence? You know what I'm saying? Where was the evidence? Where was all this mountain of evidence that the prosecution actually said that they had? You know what I'm saying? We was told about, arson and all this, and then Kid Cudi gets on the stand and his charge goes away because they can't really prove it, and it was just it was a bunch of hearsay and rumors that had been floating around Hollywood with no things to substantially back it up besides the testimony of one woman who was in a relationship for him for over a decade. And I know I saw a lawsuit from Lil Rod. I thought that it was going to bring some of that into the case. Didn't hear him do anything. None of that came up. It became a case between two women who were basically Diddy's ex-slaves. And they were going to send him to federal prison for the rest of his life for being a sex slave. And they couldn't prove it. And I think they knew on Monday that they were in trouble when they found out that they had a rogue juror. When one juror was like, yo, I'm not following the rules. So I think that juror was like, look, man, this ain't Rico. Oh, then again, they may have been like, yo, y'all, he is guilty. We don't know. But what we do know is that they didn't find him guilty of racketeering. They didn't find him guilty for the trafficking charges. They found him guilty of prostitution because they had receipts, actual receipts of him paying for things, for favors from escorts and stuff. And some of that stuff crossed interstate lines because he was coming from different locations with these people, and these people were flying in. So this case lasted, 5-6 weeks? The federal government wasted money. Appreciate that. I want to be able to put this up. But I appreciate that. Appreciate the super chat, man. Appreciate that. Appreciate the super chat. I'm actually using OBS, not StreamYard, because for some reason my freaking audio sounds like trash on it. I gotta figure out what's going on with my microphone so I can use that. But I appreciate the super chat. I see you, man. Appreciate that. Diddy had an all-star defense. Mark Agnifilo did a great job. He had Tina Garagos on here. Brian Steele came over from the Young Thug trial. There's 2 RICO cases that he been involved in that just got tossed out. Hey, Brian Steele like Saul Goodman from Better Call Saul. Better Call Saul. He out here on the heater with these RICO cases. Did he pay for we all know that's $1 million defense. The average person in this country can't pay for that defense. See what I'm saying? So they went through the books at the average citizen. See, this is where we talk about the gap between what billionaires and billionaires actually, what they can do, because the country got a lot of millionaires. Contrary to popular belief, there's 28 million millionaires in the country. So there's a lot of millionaires in the country. There's not a lot of billionaires. That's a different zero. So when you are a billionaire and you have $1 billion worth of worth, you can pay for a defense that can basically almost get you off on any charge in this country, because they can poke holes in pretty much everything. The rule of law is about what you can prove, not about what the hearsay. It's about what you can prove without a reasonable doubt. You got to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. And if there's any doubt that creeps in at any given point, is either a hung jury or an acquittal. So if you can pay for the defense, then you can pay to poke holes in whatever the prosecution does. Now, if they got tapes and they got all this stuff and they got, for Rico, you need an enterprise. It's kind of hard to prove that he was the enterprise and he was the sole single person. Like I said, those cases that don't even really exist. The cases that I found, one was about medical fraud. Another one was about like a mayor. You know, another one was like these cases involve like fraud and stuff when it was easy to prove. But they still had co-conspirators though. You know, so who got charged with other stuff. In this case, Diddy was the sole proprietor, the sole person. There was nobody else. There was nobody else that got charged with anything. Everybody who testified that actually got arrested, they all got immunity. Rico, he's the only person in the enterprise. No co-conspirators. Nobody that they could put anything on besides KK. But she was not a co-conspirator and never was indicted in this case. So, and then she didn't testify on behalf of the prosecution. She was nowhere to be found. So it was hard. They tried. But the right defense poked enough holes and got people on that jury, 12 people, and they actually dismissed the juror. And another juror came on and they acquitted Sean Combs of the three charges that could have landed him in prison for the rest of his life. So now he's gonna nobody's heard of a one-man Rico. Nobody's heard of the man being an enterprise by himself with nobody else that is committed a crime. The drug mule was no drug mule. When they started asking questions about, so if we are at a party, if the jury is asking, so if I'm at a party with you and I got some drugs and you say, hey, Mark, let me get that. And I pass it to you, is that distribution? If this is my personal use, you're not buying it from me. You're here to use it with me. So is that distribution? Am I distributing drugs to you? Is that distribution? That's not what we think about when we think about drug distribution. When you're thinking about distribution, you're thinking about a network. You're thinking about people being in one spot and they moving it across interstate lines. You're not thinking about somebody showing up with a Gucci bag full of blow and some X and a few bags of weed just to smoke and chill out and get high as hell, and that's considered distribution. At least that's not what I think of. So if you're gonna say that this is the drug mule, then I'm thinking that this guy Brendan Paul, I thought when they say he was the drug mule, I'm thinking that he was the supplier. He the plug. He just knew some people he can go get some, go cop some so they can get high. Seriously? He just a little runner. He ain't no distro. This was insane. The whole case fell apart. And anybody with any sense who saw this prosecution, anybody who saw, think about this. You didn't see Rico in this. I'm thinking that they talking about it's extortion and bribery and murder, possible murder. I'm thinking that, I'm like, dang, Diddy running a network. He got people cleaning up stuff. Where are all these people that was supposed to be cleaning up all this stuff that he was doing? Where was all the bribery and all this stuff? He didn't get charged with none of that. Didn't get found guilty of none of that stuff. Where's the extortion? It was all based on sex. And based on, watching some of the other YouTubers, shouts out to them, some of the ones that were inside who were doing their thing, who were like Attorney Simone and Amon Wiggins, the ones that were inside of the case that was giving like firsthand accounts of what was going on in there. Seemed like people were tired of hearing about Astroglide and baby oil. Like, how much more of a freak can he be? Hell, we know what he likes to do. Okay, is this all we're talking about here? Just a man that is paying for prostitution and sex and got 2 women just to keep going past how long they want to go into drug-fueled, laced-fueled, sex-fueled escapades that got violent at sometimes? Because they were high as hell on all kind of drugs. Okay. I mean, Diddy is that's what he did. And everybody saw the video of Cassie. It was horrific. That was crazy, you know. But I think somebody leaked that for a reason. Because before that, she was trying to get some money. And then all of a sudden they settled. And then she went away and all these other lawsuits came out. And the next thing you know, they raided his house and they said they had all this evidence. So I don't know what happened. Well, I know what happened. Hell, let's call a spade a spade. We know what happened. We know exactly what happened with this. They saw some of these tapes. Some people were on them that are high powered. And they said, oh no, we cannot open up Pandora's box. We're just going to try to see if we can try to get a jury to convict him and send him away by himself. They were going to try to do him like they did Epstein. So people didn't want to be heard and seen because come on now. So these escapades, it was just him with the women. It was just him. Nobody else was privy to it, but we heard about all these parties all over these years. All of a sudden now it's just Diddy and Cassie and a bunch of sex workers. That's what the freak offs were. It was Diddy and Cassie and a bunch of porn stars. That's what the freak off was. And he decided to have a bunch of crazy toys and gadgets for him and Cassie and they weird sexcapades. Where was everybody else at? Everybody be joking about these Diddy parties, so nobody else was privy to these Diddy parties. Nobody else was there besides the staff. I got questions, man. Because some things ain't adding up. But what we do know is that, yeah, for sure. Yeah, Diddy get in charge. Hugh Hefner had a whole mansion with young girls and everything. I thought we were going to have, like they was talking about Diddy was messing with minors or something. Like none of that stuff came up. This was about Cassie and Jane Doe. 2 adult women and wild sexcapades with Diddy. And that happened to be violent. But, hey. But he paid for the defense. Them people worked. They did their job. They created reasonable doubt, and the jury acquitted them. So I don't know what's going to happen with the rest of these people who testified. Everybody who's scared about Diddy getting out, because he's going to get out. Now, is he going to go back to doing this stuff? Who knows? We don't know. Hell, we didn't know what was going on in this house before. So I'm pretty sure we definitely not going to know what's going on now. I'm pretty sure he's learned his lesson on certain things. Then again, who knows? Because they're saying that he was setting up for a freak off the day he was getting arrested. So he may not have learned anything. But I would hope that he's learned something. I was telling my son last night, I'll leave y'all with this one. I was telling my son this last night. I said, when you are a parent, and Diddy's a parent, I said, you raise your sons from a fear of criminality, and you raise your daughters from a stage of morality. Meaning, you raise your sons that anything that they can do, they can find themselves behind bars for. So you try to do your best to make sure that your sons are in positions where they don't have to be involved with law enforcement, because we already know, especially as black men, that anytime that we are engaged in any type of interaction with police, it could go either way. It can get escalated. It can get out of control real quick, and something can happen. An accident can happen. You can get accidentally shot. I've showed videos on this channel where people were complying and somebody tried to grab a weapon and then misfired and all kind of stuff. We seen people get shot unarmed all the time. So you raise your sons from a fear of criminality. So you don't want them to be involved in stuff. So you like, man, hopefully they're not going to be involved with the police, because it can go crazy. But for your daughters, you raise your daughters from a stage of morality. Meaning, I don't think that there is any man in the country, if you have a daughter, if you heard the stuff that these two women got on the stand and said that they had to do for him, would you agree that you would want to see your daughter get on the stand and say all that stuff? I don't know if any man that would want to hear his daughter say those things, because you would feel like a freaking failure. You would feel like a failure. Like she should be a queen. She should be respecting herself. Now, what people do in their bedrooms, they do in their bedrooms. But you don't want to see that that's your daughter doing that. You know what I'm saying? Being used and abused, and for what? For fame and fortune? You're like, what are you doing? So you wouldn't want to see them do that. But if you engage in that type of activity, then it is happening. So I don't think that he's going to go back to doing that stuff, because I think that, for him, his daughters had to sit through this court case and hear these women testify about the stuff their dad had them doing. I don't think that he would be in a position, or want to be in a position, to have to sit in the courtroom and hear his daughters testify that they had to do some stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Karma's a mug. So we got to give him the benefit of the doubt to say he's not going to go back and do the stuff that he was doing prior to. I will hope not, but don't know. He may come out of this like he thinking he damn King Kong, and double down on this shit. Who knows? Who knows, right? We're not privy to his house, don't know him personally. But you'll hope that he would be a productive citizen and get help. He said he was going to get help. He has videos saying that he was going to get help. If that was BS, then it was BS, but then he shouldn't get no grace. Now, do I think that his public persona is going to take a hit? I don't know. I don't know if his public persona is going to take a hit. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Y'all let me know in the chat. I don't think his public persona is going to take a hit to the point that they think it, because everybody heard everything. And I think through it all, people just looking at him like, okay, you a pervert and you a woman beater, dude. You know what I'm saying? Now, is his businesses going to take hits? I don't know.